and how we have to continue that fight and be just consistently battle against those folks who want to divide us based on differences rather than unite us based on our common belief in everyone's opportunity, everyone's right to reach their full potential in our society. When you run for governor, you find yourself drifting off and thinking about the race just about everywhere you're at, which troubles my wife and kids at the dinner table sometimes. But I was sitting at the sermon Sunday morning at my church, and there was a song that the choir sang, and I said I had to save that for today. And here's what it says: I believe in the sun, even when the sun's not shining. I believe in love, even when I don't feel it. I believe in God, even when God is silent. We can't be silent about these issues and this fight to make sure everyone in our society has equal opportunity.
Good evening, and thank you very much to the Safe Schools folks who are sponsoring this and all the co-sponsors. It is incredibly exciting that this is a major forum in this campaign. We have come a long way. I have to think back a little bit to, I grew up in New York, as many of you probably can tell from my accent. 1969, of course, were the Stonewall riots, and going to a commemoration in 1970, which was, of course, a very, very political year. A few months after Kent State and all the events of that, in June of 1970, there was a small demonstration in the village, in Greenwich Village, commemorating the Stonewall riots, and that was really probably where I first got fired up about. And back then it was called gay rights, to be honest, 1970, a long time ago. I remember when I was student body president in 1974 in high school, making sure we had our prom have individual tickets, not only couple tickets. Again, it sounds pretty amusing in retrospect, but the struggle was different back then. Lots of things and steps that have been taken, and we've gone a long way. I know we're going to discuss all kinds of great policy issues tonight. This is a very, very important human rights issue, as very honestly, the first non-Christian candidate for governor, I believe ever, but certainly in a very long time. The rights of minorities and the need to fight bigotry is something that is always on my mind as I explain to people in rural Iowa some of the intricacies of Judaism. We need to stand up against bigotry and stand up to human rights.
All right, who's that? Here we go. My name is Nate Bolton. I'm a state senator, and really want to thank Iowa Safe Schools for putting together this forum tonight as we discuss some critical issues, and hopefully we get into that discussion sooner rather than later. I'm excited for it and looking forward to it. I've made my career as an attorney focused on justice and equality, and I've done that in representing injured workers and representing people wrongfully terminated, including people who have been discriminated against because of their sexual orientation. I've been proud to do that because it's what we should do. We should lead by example in the state of Iowa on equality, on access to justice, on the things that have made Iowa exceptional as a leader in civil rights for generations. Unfortunately, we see now an administration that is willing to turn the clock backwards. I'm someone who has celebrated when we had our Supreme Court of Iowa stand up for equality under the law and recognize same-sex marriage in the state ahead of most of the nation. And I was disappointed when we had Kim Reynolds and others criticizing that decision. I'm someone who stood up for our justices when they were attacked and pursued by extreme organizations that wanted them removed from office and succeeded in that effort. While Kim Reynolds was, of course, backing those efforts to remove justices who stood up for equality in our state. I was proud to be a part of the first gay marriage in Loiza County when my aunts Barbara and Tiana were married. And you know what? It sticks with me to this day, how much of the community came together for that moment and how far we have come in just a short period of time in this state. I'm someone who has opposed the efforts to strip away some of those successes. As we see a governor talking about making LGBTQ rights a matter of local control, recognizing the dark history of civil rights being a local control matter. We can do more, not less, and we can lead not by example, but with
Thank you,
intent.
Senator.
And I appreciate the opportunity to do just that.
Thank you.
My name is Fred Hubbell. I want to say thank you to Nate and to Safe Schools for putting this event together and for the other sponsors. You know, I firmly believe every Iowan deserves to live as they are with respect and dignity. After all, Iowa was the first state in the heartland to ensure marriage equality. But today, too many Iowans face marginalization, in some cases physical and mental threats for simply being as whom they were born. It's unacceptable, and not who I believe we are as Iowans. We need to stand up to injustice, like the defunding of Planned Parenthood, which has left Iowans with less access to quality, affordable health care. I served as chairman of Planned Parenthood in the 1980s during the AIDS crisis, where we worked to help educate and provide health care training that was severely lacking at the time. Today, Planned Parenthood is one of the largest LGBTQ care providers in the state and provides valuable services from family planning to cancer screenings for our communities. We need to properly fund our schools so more counselors are available and teachers get the proper sensitivity training that they need to create safe and supportive learning environments for every young Iowan. We also need to ensure and support inclusive community spaces like this social club that bring people together to foster understanding and collaboration. My wife and I have been supportive of the arts and creative spaces for over 30 years. And when we first got involved in this social club project many years ago, our goal was very simple: to help create an open and free place that welcomes all people and all ideas. As I said many times before, Iowa's greatest strength is its people. If we support understanding and collaboration, the potential to innovate and achieve is limitless. We have a choice in the type of place we want to be, and we have a choice in the type of place we want to leave to the next generation. I know we can be one that celebrates diversity, individuality, and the right of everyone to live freely and safely. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you, Iowa Safe Schools, for having us tonight. My name is Kathy Glosson. I worked as an intensive care nurse for over 20 years at the University of Iowa hospitals and clinics over in Iowa City. And as a frontline nurse, I risked my job to help lead the efforts with my fellow nurses and healthcare workers at the hospital to form our union. I then went on to help organize 3 other hospitals in the state of Iowa, so those workers, healthcare workers and nurses, had a voice on the job. I'm also the elected union president of my union and elected by my fellow workers, and I haven't stopped organizing to this very day. But I do want to cut right to the chase, because I believe the #1 job of a governor is to raise wages and improve the standard of living for every Iowan. And that job starts by increasing the minimum wage to $15 an hour and making it easier for workers to join a union, both of which are particularly important for our LGBTQ+ community who face huge wage inequalities and discriminations in their workplace at rates far higher than the rest of our workforce. And the job continues as governor. We must ensure that all Iowans get the health care they need by ensuring universal health care for all. And if we invest in these bold ideas, we will dramatically improve the lives of over 1 million Iowans. While we fight for economic justice for every Iowan, it's equally important that we fight for social justice and equality in our state. We must legislatively ban conversion therapy.
That's right.
It's dangerous and widely discredited by the medical experts and major medical organizations. Conversion therapy has no place in Iowa law. We need to toughen up enforcement of anti-discrimination laws. No Iowan should be faced with discrimination when trying to find a job or housing because of their sexual orientation or gender identity. We must pursue expanding hate crimes legislation to include gender identity.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
All right, our first question is, do you believe being LGBTQ is a choice, and when did you come to that conclusion? And we'll start this question with Marco.
I don't believe that it's a choice. I think you grow to feel a certain way, and you decide to act on that based on a number of factors. My first exposure to any sorts of different communities for myself actually came from hearing the band Queen in my household growing up over the speakers, and just really learning from their front man of this different community. But yeah, no, I think that the individual is really, it's definitely not something that someone can just say, no, I don't want to be this, and I do agree with the sentiments of conversion therapy, getting rid of that. That shouldn't be here in Iowa. I think it's akin to torture. But yeah.
No, it is not a choice. And as a doctor, this is why people talk about it as when they talk about conversion therapy, they're really talking about conversion because it's a disease. This is not a disease. Sexual orientation is not a disease. Gender identity is not a disease. This is something you're born with, and it is not a choice. And so that's why we have to stop doing things like trying to, and I hate to say it, but pray the gay away. I think that's horrible. And that is torture. And you're right, every major medical association has come out, including the AMA, which I will tell you, as a member, is probably the most conservative organization you'll ever meet. And even they understand this is torture. So this is not a disease. This is something that people are born with. And we have to make sure that we're allowing safe spaces so people can be what they need to be, what is inside them, their best self. Thank you.
No, it is not a choice. You know, I'm straight. I didn't choose to be that. Why would people choose to be discriminated against? I mean, I think that's a legitimate question. Why would they? No, everyone has the right to live how they see fit, so long as they're not harming anyone else. The government should take no role in discriminating against anyone, and we should not, you know, use these torture things to harm anyone else, and that's what we're doing. We need to look at each other as individuals. Now, I haven't always thought this way. Whenever I was a teenager, I don't think that I felt that way, but you know what happened? I traveled, I had gay friends, I talked to people. That's what we need to do. We need to talk to our friends, we need to talk to our neighbors. And little by little, our opinions are gonna change. But the bottom line is you have the right to live your life as you see fit, and it's not a choice now.
I think the unfortunate reality is that too many people have to choose whether they want to be open to who they are or not. That's the choice that's wrong in this equation. You shouldn't be forced to choose whether you can be and live who you are, because it's not a choice how you're born. But our society forces people to make a choice about being themselves or not. I think so many of the problems are rooted in us forcing people to even have to evaluate that choice.
I think John said it very eloquently. Certainly it is not a choice. I can't say I really had, there wasn't that much discussion of it in high school. Probably in college at Grinnell there was a fair amount of discussion about that very topic, and I became aware of research and information on that. I know people are commenting on conversion therapy, absolutely dead set against that. We need to change the laws to make it very clear that is not acceptable, and also administrative rules to make sure there's clear punishment for folks in the medical professions who engage in it. And just like folks should not be forced to convert a religion, folks should not be forced to go against their born sexual preference, orientation.